Fanti, a powerful warrior from the One-Horn tribe, makes a dramatic entrance by shaking the ground with a stomp and challenging the other players. When they hesitate, he charges in, breaking through their defenses and mocking them as he easily defeats the group. His speed and strength leave the others frozen in fear, but Fanti just laughs and pushes forward without effort. Yeon watches the scene and is impressed by Fanti's power. He thinks it makes sense that someone like him defeated the giant snake. But what really gets his attention is Adora, Fanti's sister, who's ranked number 1. Yeon remembers Khan's warning that Adora's true strength is like an ocean, deep and unknown. That thought makes her even more terrifying. When she looks at him, Yeon feels exposed, knowing he can't stay unnoticed anymore. Yeon decides to act. He empties a bag full of tokens, shocking everyone, and jumps to the top of the rankings. Then he reveals his new weapon, Vigrid, a demonic sword with sealed power. The other players, seeing him alone, try to steal it. But Yeon uses a skill called Blessing Contagion, which spreads a slowing curse between enemies. At first, they think they're safe, but soon realize they've been hit. Yeon takes out the weaker players, knowing the real battle is still coming. Yeon was about to attack Adora, but Fanti stepped in, eager to fight a strong opponent. He handed his tokens to Adora, putting her in first place. Fanti used his tribe's special move, Lightning Fist, but Yeon countered with his sword, surprising Fanti with his strength. Fanti activated King's Rule to fight seriously, and almost landed a strong blow on Yeon. However, Yeon used his hidden skill Foresight to see 5 seconds into the future. This allowed him to dodge and strike back, wounding Fanti. Yeon then went for Adora, expecting to knock her out, but she blocked the attack and pushed back. Surprised, Yeon realized she had a mysterious eye ability that could see through his foresight. Adora inherited a special ability called Insight, passed down through her Chong family. Only she could master it. Just when it looked like he was going to lose, Yeon revealed that his real target wasn't Adora, but the tokens Fanti had given her. He used that distraction to take first place in the rankings and escaped using Shuinpa, leaving Adora surprised and even a little flustered. For seconds later, the tutorial ended, and all the players were sent to a waiting area. The others quickly realized that Yeon was the hoarder, the number 1 player. He knew he had drawn a lot of attention, but it was all part of his plan to get Zeus's key, one of 12 needed to unlock the treasury of Olympus. While looking for his allies Khan and Doyle, someone called out to him. It was Yul, who had gained power after visiting the Garden of Phrygia and forming a contract with elemental spirits. Yeon activated his dragon eyes and noticed that Yul no longer carried any negative emotions. He had grown stronger. Yul had also found a true mentor, unlike the teammates he had before. Grateful, Yul bowed and thanked Yeon for everything, saying they'd meet again before disappearing. Suddenly, Evil Kega, the tutorial administrator, appeared to congratulate the players and highlight the outstanding performance of a few. Everyone was stunned to see Yeon's score, over 510,000 points. Even Adora, to Yeon's surprise, smiled and congratulated him sincerely. Using his dragon eyes, Yeon confirmed her words were genuine, a clear contrast to her brother's usual attitude. Evil Kega laughed, stating that Yeon had achieved the highest score in tutorial history. As a reward, Yeon was offered a spot in the Hall of Fame, but declined. He was also given a mysterious box containing an Iblis embryo, the Beast Lord's lion helmet, and a C-rank Zeus key. While many had rejected or lost lower rank keys before, Yeon understood their long-term value. He needed 11 more to forge the complete version. With the tutorial over, players either qualified for the tower or had to try again. Yeon received his invitation just before Fanti shouted for a rematch. Yeon declined and vanished, leaving Fanti cursing. As rumors spread about the masked rookie who crushed the royal siblings of the One-Horn tribe and topped the rankings with over 500,000 tokens, people began calling him the Hoarder. Countless clans were eager to recruit him, but all they knew was that he wore a mask and had no known name. Yeon was transported to a medieval-looking village near the towering structure that pierced the sky, the Tower of the God. This was the place where the people responsible for his brother's death were hiding. But things were different now. Yeon was determined to avenge him. He started searching for a location using an old photo where his brother stood smiling next to someone. Following that clue, Yeon entered a rundown shop that looked ready to collapse. However, the weapons inside were pristine, all of them high-grade items. Each one had been forged by a dwarf named Hinova. While Yeon was reflecting on how even dragon eyes couldn't determine whether a weapon was ruined or exceptional, a voice suddenly demanded to know who he was. The man at the door matched the dwarf in the photo perfectly. Yeon also remembered Hinova being mentioned several times in his brother's journal. He had been more than just a friend, he had become a father figure. Their real father had died when they were young. When Yeon said he had come to buy a weapon, the dwarf exploded in anger, telling him to stop messing around and get lost. Yeon calmly repeated that he was serious about buying a weapon. At the mention of the fallen Arsha clan, Hinova's expression shifted. He told Yeon not to speak of things he didn't understand. Hinova was the official blacksmith of Arsha. Although not a player, he was like a team member, and his weapons helped them win many battles. Yeon realizes that clans probably tried to recruit Hinova, but when he refused, they began harassing his clients. After Yeon insists, Hinova agrees to sell him a dagger. When asked if he has money, Yeon jokes about using credit, then reveals a bag given to him by a dark elf. Recognizing it, Hinova sees Yeon must have passed Galliard's trial. Hinova tells Yeon to show his tutorial loot and warns his gear isn't cheap. At first, the items look like junk, but Hinova recognizes they're rare materials meant for building a powerful artifact. Then he notices Yeon's black bracelet and is shocked when Yeon explains it's an Iblis embryo and the main helmet of the Beast Lion Lord, both extremely rare. Hinova thinks Yeon is mocking him, but Yeon calmly asks if he can commission a special item, Guy's Eyes. Only 5 blacksmiths can make it, and Hinova is one of them. Surprised, Hinova asks if Yeon understands what he's asking. Yeon says not to worry, he'll handle the other clans, and if Hinova's scared, he can walk away. Fired up, Hinova agrees. Yeon then studies his new dagger and feels like it once belonged to someone dear, like it was meant for him. At night, Yeon noticed his watch trembling, he was running out of time. Realizing he was being followed, he lost the pursuers by slipping into an alley and rented the top floor of an inn one his brother used to frequent. He visited places mentioned in his brother Jeong-woo's journal, reflecting on what his brother might have thought while sitting on the same terrace. Yeon frequently checked on the blacksmith Hinova to oversee his order, staying to ensure it was done right. Hinova couldn't read him and noted Yeon never lost his temper. Using his dragon eyes, Yeon saw Hinova's skill was extraordinary. Yeon said he was bored, so Hinova told him to help, though Yeon needed basic instruction. Meanwhile, Leonti, one of the 5 Blue Sword clan leaders and an ex-Arsha member, discovered Orangdan's base destroyed and ordered a wide search. Eventually, Hinova agreed to teach Yeon metallurgy basics. Yeon wanted to fix something without saying what it was: the watch, which held his brother's memories. Hinova shouted at Yeon every time he made a mistake, but noticed that Yeon had natural skill. He hit precisely and learned fast. Watching him, Hinova was reminded of Jeong-woo and briefly wondered if he was just getting sentimental. 2 weeks had passed, and Yeon realized why Hinova was like a father to his brother. He was warm and loyal. That made Yeon happy but also certain. Once the eyes of guys were ready, he'd disappear to avoid dragging Hinova into danger. To climb the tower and challenge stronger opponents, Yeon needed more power. A crowd gathered around a wanted notice. It was him. The men harassing Hinova had found him at last. They were hired by powerful clans to deal with matters on lower floors. Yeon warned them to back off. When one drew his sword, Yeon vanished and reappeared mid-strike, taking him down. One by one, he defeated them. They couldn't understand how a supposed newbie was this strong or bold enough to fight them at all. Yeon grabs one of the attackers by the neck. Before killing him, the man hints that something happened to Hinova. Furious, Yeon kills everyone except one to use as a guide. At the forge, Yeon finds it wrecked and Hinova badly beaten. Hinova apologizes, they stole everything, including Yeon's request. Thankfully, Hinova's injuries aren't serious. Yeon vows to retrieve what was taken. The thieves belong to Night Watch, a feared clan in the tower's underworld, rumored to be tied to the Red Dragon, one of the 8 major clans. Hinova tries to stop Yeon. When Yeon speaks calmly, Hinova sees Jeong-woo in him and clenches his fist, frustrated by the memory. Yeon reaches their base, dragging a captured attacker. With his dragon eyes, he spots traps and finds the right entrance. He tells Willet to go in first. Inside, Yeon suddenly ambushes them, sending one flying. The others realize Willet betrayed them. Chaos breaks out as Yeon effortlessly defeats them all. He hears a trap trigger, someone's trying to flee. Yeon spots the man below, blocks his escape, dodges his attack, breaks his sword, and kills him. Watching from above, 2 clan members are frozen in fear. One of them must go down or die. Yeon orders a coffee, which one of the terrified clan members nervously brings. After intimidating them, he demands compensation for everything stolen from Hinova, the contents of their vaults, the culprits responsible, and that they rebuild and protect Hinova's forge from now on. Yeon doesn't care if they report him, his support group wouldn't mind. When he returns, Hinova, worried, asks where he was. Seeing Yeon carrying a sack of treasures, he calls him reckless but is relieved he made it back. Elsewhere, Fanti and Adora learn about Yeon's whereabouts and actions. The next day, Yeon shows Hinova the newly restored forge, shinier and better than before. Yeon asks what he thinks. Hinova sighs, since Yeon wanted the dragon eyes, this was the least he could do. Yeon finds his reaction a bit tsundere-like. While inspecting a newly crafted sword, Yeon notices his abilities have improved significantly. He can now even see people's information. When he asks Hinova a question about the sword-making process, the dwarf snaps and tells him to figure it out himself. Hinova inspects Yeon's sword and is shocked by its near perfection, though he can't bring himself to praise Yeon directly and just insults him instead. Suddenly, an explosion hits the forge. Fanti has finally found Yeon and storms in angrily. Yeon casually gets up, while Hinova demands he handle that bastard. Fanti has a black eye, but Yeon ignores him. Edora also arrives and brings Hinova coffee, carrying a sword he once forged for her, which helps him recall the siblings. Days pass, and Fanti constantly challenges Yeon to a fight, interrupting everything. Eventually, Yeon agrees on the condition that the loser serves the winner for life. The fight ends in just 3 seconds with Yeon's victory and Fanti nursing another black eye. Hinova is stunned the Martial King's son lost so easily. Fanti realizes their levels are now completely different and asks why Yeon hasn't entered the tower. Yeon tells him to shut up so he can work. He has his reasons. His brother once cleared the first 10 floors in 10 days, earning the Hades key and breaking a record, which likely caught Arsha's attention. Yeon plans to do the same once he gets the Gigan's eyes. Meanwhile, Hinova curses Yeon, thinking he hasn't had a peaceful day since Yeon arrived. As night falls and snow begins to fall, Hinova is deep in thought about Yeon's brother when a mysterious crimson figure enters his shop, startling him. Meanwhile, at a cafe, Yeon fixes a broken clock just as Fanti and Edora arrive to tease him. Suddenly, the three sense someone approaching, a man in a red coat asking for Kane. He introduces himself as Thame from the Red Zephyr clan, hoping to recruit Yeon. After Thame leaves, Yeon receives many more clan offers, but none interest him. Just as they're about to leave, a striking red-haired man arrives. Yeon is shocked. It's Bahal, the Flame Fist, a gentle yet powerful ranker, top officer of the Red Dragon clan, and Hinova's former disciple. Like the others, he wants Yeon in his clan and promises help climbing the tower. Yeon suspects Bahal's motives lie in preparing for an inevitable clan war. Despite the tempting offer, Yeon declines, claiming he doesn't want to be tied down. Bahal accepts but hints that Hinova seems fond of Yeon. Worried Bahal might have harmed Hinova, Yeon rushes back, only to find everything normal. Hinova, in fact, tells him the guy's eyes are ready. When Yeon opens the case, he's surprised to find a cloak and a horned mask instead of a traditional amulet. Using his dragon eyes, he confirms the guy's eyes are embedded in the cloak, boosting perception by 20%, reducing physical damage, fire, ice, lightning, holy, and offering resistance to curses, poison, and more. Stunned by Hinova's craftsmanship, Yeon puts on the cloak and feels the guy's eyes syncing with his senses, pushing his awakening to 99.1%. He then tries the mask, made with Hinova's blood, which increases power by 30%, grants a fear-inducing ability for 15 to 20 seconds. Moved by Hinova's generosity, Yeon offers to repay him later in credits. Smiling behind the mask, he promises to make good use of the dwarf's creations. For the first time, Hinova asks his name. With a pained expression, Yeon replies, Kane. Bahal is under heavy protection, as many seek his life. One of his subordinates expresses surprise that the hoarder, Yeon, isn't with him, dismissing Yeon as an arrogant rookie. Bahal, however, isn't concerned. He doubts Yeon will join any other faction after Bahal personally reached out. He then shifts focus to an investigation about Leonti, a man attempting to create a magical item akin to the Philosopher's Stone. In this world, each player has a mana organ that stores a limited amount of mana. To overcome this limit, they rely on potions, magical weapons, or other sources. However, the only path to infinite mana involves harvesting the soul and flesh of others, something Leonti has begun doing. Bahal orders his capture and the retrieval of the artifact. If both are unattainable, Leonti must be eliminated, but the magical item must be secured at all costs. Meanwhile, Yeon suits up in full armor and thanks Hinova deeply, possibly for the last time, before heading to the tower. At the gate, Fanti stops him, frustrated that Yeon didn't inform them. Yeon brushes him off, saying he doesn't have time to play. Edora appears too and insists Yeon go ahead. They will follow without interfering. Yeon tells them to do as they please. The siblings had already visited the first floor but misunderstood its rules. Yeon opens the gate, and they all enter the obelisk. The first floor is a bright waiting area with around 50 players, where they can form teams. Many glance at Yeon and the siblings, recognizing them. Yeon's goal is to clear the first 10 floors in 9 days and collect hidden keys. Aaron, the first floor guardian, appears and explains the rules to the gathered players. 2 teams of 100 must protect their 5 crystals while stealing or destroying the enemies. Yeon's team holds blue crystals, the opponent's red. Any method of defense is allowed, from hiding crystals to having strong players guard them. Yeon sees the test as chaotic. Expecting strangers to cooperate is unrealistic. When the guardian asks for team reps, a random player volunteers for Yeon's side. but Fanti interrupts and takes the crystals, saying no one can protect them better. A teammate mocks him for failing in the past, which Yeon finds believable. When Fanti dares anyone to challenge him, Yeon steps in calmly and asks for the crystals. In the control room, a goblin proposes a bet to Eren. He believes Yeon will achieve something remarkable. Eren disagrees, seeing him as a strong but still inexperienced rookie. Back in the test zone, players are surprised by Fanti's deference to Yeon. Edora asks if Yeon has a plan. He asks her to scout ahead. While most expect a fight on the unstable bridges connecting the cliffs, Yeon starts looking for another path. Yeon activates his power and attacks fiercely, cutting off the enemy's escape route. With swift, devastating strikes, he defeats his opponents and secures the enemy's crystals, earning Hera's key. The test ends, making Yeon the top-ranked player in the tower. All players are sent to a waiting room, but Yeon refuses to register his name again. Eren, impressed by his skills, offers rewards, but Yeon asks to delay receiving them, knowing the longer he waits, the better the rewards will be. While others rest, Yeon, Edora, and Fanti proceed to the second floor. Yeon requests a solo stage challenge, and the guardian Johannes warns it'll be dangerous but rewarding. Fanti and Edora are restricted from helping. The mission is to conquer countless monsters and become king of the forest. Yeon systematically defeats enemies and earns Demeter's key. Again, he skips the Hall of Fame and moves on. Determined to clear the beginner zone in 5 days, half the time Arsha needed, Yeon speeds through each floor. The Guardians are shocked as he finishes the 7th floor in just 12 hours and the 8th in just over 7 hours. The goblin watching him jokes that he might become a millionaire from betting on Yeon. Yeon reaches the 9th floor where he faces the powerful Fire King. With Fanti and Edora's help, he manages to defeat the monster and retrieves the Hephaestus key. Now, he only lacks the keys of Ares and Hermes. Advancing to the 10th floor, a solo stage, the group must separate, and Yeon enters the White Stage, a void realm disconnected from life, death, and even time itself. To escape this timeless world, Yeon must find a reason to live. This is the stage where most players fail. However, this test breaks the spirit, not the body. Using his gaze eyes, he finds the hidden exit and completes the beginner zone, earning Hermes' key and spotting his brother's name on the ranking board. As a reward, Yeon receives the Hades key, completing all 12 needed to forge the Olympian key. With it, he unlocks the legendary Olympus treasure chest. He is allowed to take only one item and already has 2 in mind: Zeus' Strape, Thunderbolt, and Athena's Aegis, Shield. A golden door appears, and Yeon enters, greeted by Hermes, the god who traverses the mortal and immortal worlds and guards the treasure. Hermes offers Yeon a deal: choose one item and become his apostle, gaining divine powers as his avatar. Although tempting, Yeon declines, not wanting to be bound by any god. Hermes accepts his choice, calling it the path he has chosen. Without fully understanding those words, Yeon walks forward into the treasure hall, ready to continue his journey. Yeon approaches a painting and discovers the Gorgon's head, a shield capable of petrifying enemies upon sight. Recognizing its power, he accepts it as his reward. Soon after, his watch guides him to another hidden chamber, this time revealing a grand statue of Zeus holding a strape, the thunderbolt that once slew Kronos. Yeon reaches for it, but to his shock, the legendary weapon shatters in his hands. Confused and stunned, Yeon watches as a blinding light materializes, forming a bracelet of chained energy around his arm. The item is called Black King's Despair, capable of harvesting souls, enslaving them, and converting their essence into dark energy. Yeon realizes he's never heard of this Black King, not even in his records, and suspects this entity may be linked to the mysterious Akashic Serpent. Leaving the treasure chamber, Yeon is greeted by the Goblin Administrator, who congratulates him. When Yeon questions the disappearance of a strape, the admin claims it's a secret, just like the identity of the Black King. All rewards, he says, reflect the player's past choices. Yeon is granted an enormous karma bonus and 12 special rewards for completing the beginner zone, but instead of claiming them one by one, he asks to exchange them for a greater reward, a strape. However, the goblin explains that a strape was never truly meant for him and cannot be granted. Instead, he gives Yeon a different artifact. As Yeon prepares to advance to the next floor, the admin remarks that the upcoming guardian is Laplace, wondering with interest how Yeon will handle what's to come. Elsewhere, the Red Dragon clan discusses Yeon's recent record-breaking performance in the tower. Bahal reflects on his past with Arsha, now a closed chapter. His main focus is recruiting Yeon, believing he'll eventually join them. But if not, Bahal is prepared to eliminate him, just as he did with Arsha. Many clans resented Arsha's success, leading the 8 great clans to agree, either recruit or destroy them. Bahal also mentions the Queen's continued mistrust in him. The clan encounters members of Leonti near a portal to Arung. Upon Leonti's arrival, Red Dragon launches a full-scale attack. Leonti survives and engages Bahal in battle. leveling the surroundings. Leonti accuses Bahal of recklessness, but Bahal insists he knows exactly what he's doing. Bahal offers a painless death in exchange for Leonti's mana organ, but Leonti, too proud, continues to fight. Meanwhile, Yeon arrives on the 11th floor, Dream World. Fanti and Adora haven't joined him yet, so he waits. The floor's guardian, Laplace, a rabbit from the 12 zodiacs, appears. Although not the original guardian, Laplace swapped in personally to offer Yeon a unique deal. He explains the rule change from floor 11 onward. No more waiting rooms and trials will now be long-term. Laplace clarifies, before floor 11, players could retry failed trials and heal in recovery zones. From now on, failure means being stuck on that floor indefinitely. The concept of rounds no longer exists. With no questions from Yeon, Laplace initiates the next stage. In the dream world, Yeon's task is to incubate his own mythical beast. The administrator hands Yeon a mysterious egg. Its final form will depend on the dreams, care, and devotion Yeon provides. As the admin departs, Yeon reflects on the difficulty of this challenge. Yeon remembers how his brother once said this trial was fun. He had cared deeply for his egg. His dedication paid off, hatching one of the best species possible, a mythical dragon, which later helped him find the ancient dragon Caliphus. However, Yeon admits he's not good at caring for things like his brother. Despite receiving some incubation tips, he's still unsure what kind of beast will hatch. He hopes for a phoenix, given his natural affinity for fire and wind. To increase his chances, he decides to obtain the Flame of Life, which ties into his flame infusion skill. Fanti and Adora still haven't appeared, so Yeon leaves them a message carved into a stone, hoping they'll find him soon. Yeon entered the phoenix's territory, sensing the creature watching him from afar. As he spotted its nest above, a voice warned him to stop. Approaching further would mean death. Yeon respectfully explained he had come seeking the Flame of Life, but the voice coldly told him there was nothing to share and he should leave. Noticing something strange, Yeon apologized. The phoenix called him bold, and Yeon activated his dragon eyes, noticing that the bird was guarding its eggs. He asked if one was missing. The phoenix, irritated, told him again to leave. Yeon proposed a deal. If he could retrieve the stolen egg, the phoenix would give him a mission. The phoenix agreed, albeit indifferently. Following clues into the forest, Yeon discovered two thieves who had stolen the egg. One betrayed the other to keep it, but Yeon killed them both and burned the bodies. Returning to the phoenix with the egg, the great bird was overjoyed to be reunited with its child. In gratitude, it offered Yeon a reward. When asked what he wanted, Yeon requested the Flame of Life for his beast egg. Owing him a favor, the phoenix agreed, but warned the flame must be held in a proper container. Yeon would need to craft one before receiving it. To do so, Yeon had to collect rare materials, 5 albatross eggs, 80 shadow snake apples, and a lesser dragon's heart. Making the container was more difficult than obtaining the flame itself. The phoenix told him to return once prepared. In the meantime, Yeon created a warm, peaceful environment for his egg. Following his brother's journal, he pampered it, even caressing it gently and building a proper nest. The next day, he placed it on branches. Everything seemed to be going well so far. Yeon reviewed the 8 rewards he received from the phoenix's mission. He used a pendant to summon a soul, then commanded it using his skill. After some struggle, the spirit, a witch doctor, eventually obeyed. The spirit could use low-level magic, and although it was slower than Yeon and had a limited hearing range of 100 meters, it followed all his commands. Yeon realized undead could evolve, and his current spirit might later become a lich. Thinking ahead, he started planning to build an undead army. He summoned 2 more strong spirits, a giant gnoll from the 6th floor and Volca, a boss from the 9th floor defeated with Fanti and Adora's help. These were the strongest enemies from the beginner areas. He gave them names Ka, Gnoll, and Bu, which increased their morale and bond with him. Although they lacked personal identities, they were more powerful than average spirits. Ka was strong, and the Gnoll was fast. Yeon knew he had to find even stronger spirits and expanded his limit to 500 souls. He still didn't fully understand his bracelet and needed Adora's help to unlock its secrets. Suddenly, the phoenix asked him about the bracelet and who he really was in this world. Meanwhile, far away, a wounded man wandered through the forest. Leonti swore revenge, blaming his loss on not having the stone. News spread quickly through the tower about the clash between the Red Dragon clan and the Azure Sword clan. The Red Dragon clan officially declared war, and since both clans were among the most powerful in the tower, the conflict promised to be massive. Fanti and Adora, upon hearing the news, received a message from their tribe. Both were summoned to return home as soon as possible. Fanti and Adora returned to their village, surprising everyone with how soon they came back. Villagers were asking Adora about finding a husband when their father showed up, wondering why she looked upset. Fanti joked that she wanted to go on adventures with her future husband, but Adora shut him up with a kick. Their father was curious to meet the man who won her heart, but quickly changed the subject to talk about the war. We're introduced to the martial king, Nayu, who announced they'd joined the war as mercenaries. Flan, another character, had vowed to give up his horn if they agreed, something tied to his honor and pride. Meanwhile, the Phoenix asked Yeon about his bracelet. Despite her ability to see through almost anything, she couldn't read this item. It was both the opposite of her and strangely connected, like a mirror. The phoenix symbolized life through fire, while the bracelet held power that brought life from death, essentially tied to death itself. The phoenix also noticed Yeon had Athena's Aegis, a 9-layer shield blessed by the goddess of war. This shield could block long-range attacks, counter dark magic, and petrify enemies. It also boosted allies and weakened enemies, helping even Yeon's summoned spirits. However, not everything worked smoothly. 3 of Yeon's spirits feared the shield, and the black bracelet was incompatible with it. Yeon came up with an idea: use the Aegis to remove the curse from the sword Vigrid. The plan worked, the shield accepted the sword but still rejected the bracelet. The phoenix was amazed, as she had never seen someone holding both dark and holy artifacts at once. She then asked Yeon to name one of her newborn chicks, the same one he had saved. At the nest, Yeon picked up the small phoenix chick and named it Crippy, forming a bond with it. Because of this, other phoenixes would now be less hostile toward him. Yeon felt something changing inside, his spiritual energy surged, bringing him to 99.5% of his awakening. Yeon tried to control the shield, which had 9 layers, but it was way harder than he expected. He could handle 1 layer, but controlling 2 was already tough. To use all 9, he'd have to split his focus into separate streams of awareness. At night, Yeon relaxed by a river while checking his stats. There wasn't much to do on that floor until his beast was born. He wondered where Fanti and Adora were, thinking something might have happened, but trusted they could take care of themselves. After 5 days with no sign of them, he trained until he was ready to gather materials for the container. In the forest, he had to hunt albatrosses and help their eggs hatch. With the help of his spirit familiars, he beat the monster, though the creature's soul didn't become a familiar, likely because it still held a grudge. His other spirits got stronger thanks to a spirit bead. The next quest involved collecting apples guarded by snakes with paralysis venom. A group reached the tree first, but the apples were already gone. Yeon had gotten there before them. Later, Yeon walked through Barak City and overheard complaints about material shortages. He felt a bit guilty since he had taken many resources to become a worthy container. Suddenly, members of the Behemoth clan, a subsidiary of the Azure Sword clan, showed up and ordered people to move. Yeon suspected something had happened to the Azure Sword clan. Inside a tavern, everyone stared as he walked to the bar and offered a full bag of coins, asking for skybug wings. After getting a small bag in return, he placed another full one down and asked if anything strange was going on floor 11. The bartender explained that the Red Dragon and Azure Sword clans were at war. Yeon's shock was so intense, others could feel his aura. The bartender then shared that Bahal and Leonti had clashed in the outer district, and that floor 11 was likely the battleground because of its rich resources and mythical beasts. Yeon realized that the mythical beasts would play a major role in the war and that he had been taking resources others needed for that fight. It now made sense why people were angry at him. As he left the tavern, another player asked the bartender about Yeon, and the bartender told him to follow the masked hoarder. In the forest, Yeon noticed he was being followed by Behemoth members. One of them confronted him, saying someone had been destroying beast habitats, causing problems for many players. They knew it was Yeon and told him he needed to cooperate. Surrounded, Yeon simply said, "Come at me." As soon as the man drew his sword to attack, his head was cut off. Yeon's spirit familiars had taken out the entire group. A second group, waiting nearby, realized that the first had been wiped out by just one person. Suddenly, a thick fog surrounded them, and they started to panic. One man who had escaped the first group warned them that ghosts had killed his team. The leader didn't believe him until one of Yeon's spirits devoured him. The fog had special effects. It dulled the players' senses, made them lose direction, and separated them from others. Fear spread like a chain reaction. The spirits, who had gained consciousness, now supported Yeon fully and saw him as their master. One in particular, Ka, wanted to grow stronger to help him and have fun doing it. Only 3 enemies remained when Yeon appeared through the fog. He asked if any of them wanted to live. Then, he killed 2 and left the one in the middle alive, telling him to go back and warn those who sent him. If they tried this again, Yeon would erase them completely. The survivor ran away, and Yeon told his spirit Nol to follow him and end the threat for good. The bartender who had sold information about Yeon was waiting for an update when the terrified messenger returned. As the bartender gave the order to silence him, one of Yeon's spirits appeared and caused a huge explosion, destroying the tavern. Back at the nest, Yeon returned with high-quality materials to build the container. The phoenix combined them all and created a glowing orb. Yeon gained the flame of life. As it formed, he remembered sweet childhood moments with his brother, and for the first time, tears fell from his eyes. The sacred flame symbolized life. Memories became anchors in hard times. Life, after all, is made of layers of memories. Yeon thanked the phoenix for her words. It was time to hatch the egg. It grew larger, changed color and texture, but nothing came out. Both Yeon and the phoenix were confused. The phoenix could see that the creature inside was fully formed, but for some unknown reason, it refused to be born. For a long time, Yeon and the phoenix kept creating more flames of life and putting them into the egg, but nothing worked. They were exhausted. The phoenix said the creature might not hatch because it lacked motivation. Mythical beasts are born from dreams and live to chase them. Without a dream, they don't awaken. She asked Yeon if he had a dream, and after thinking, he admitted he didn't. Revenge was just a goal, not a dream. Chirpy came to comfort him. Yeon then decided that if the beast didn't come out, he would keep feeding it more flames of life. If that failed, he'd use the energy of the other 3 legendary beasts to grow it so much that the egg would no longer be able to hold it. While in the forest, Yeon was stopped by a hooded figure. It was Yeon-woo, from the One-Horn tribe. He delivered a letter from Fanti and Adora. The letter explained that their tribe had urgent matters to handle and apologized for not writing sooner. Yeon smiled while reading it and asked Yeon-woo if they were doing well. Yeon-woo said yes and asked if Yeon needed help, as Adora had instructed him to support Yeon if needed. Yeon-woo, heir to the tribe's psychic powers, had the gift of foresight. The One-Horn tribe had been among the first to appear with the tower and was considered the strongest tribe inside. They remained neutral but were known as prophets who could speak with their tribe's god. Yeon-woo told Yeon he could guess what Yeon was thinking, but he wasn't strong enough yet. There was another successor even more powerful. Yeon mentioned he needed Adora's skill, insight. Yeon-woo invited him to visit the tribe, saying many people there wanted to meet him anyway. Since they were early participants in the tower, they likely held many secrets, so visiting them could be very useful. Yeon showed the egg to Yeon-woo, who was shocked. Yeon then asked how they would even get to the tribe, since it was said they didn't welcome outsiders and no one knew where they were. But Yeon-woo told him that was all fake. Yeon-woo gave Yeon a special ticket that would let him leave the tower. They both broke their tickets and were transported to a desert. Yeon had to follow Yeon-woo's exact steps, or risk being trapped there forever. Yeon realized the barrier was guarded by gene arts, which use Mugong to twist the environment and trigger the natural energy flow. At one point, Yeon stepped forward and suddenly they were in a field of flowers, close to the village. Instead of continuing to follow Yeon-woo, Yeon used his dragon eyes and exited the barrier on his own. Arriving at the village, a surprised voice commented that an outsider had crossed both the Ho-Ho Cloud and the Mist Gene. Yeon-woo caught up and was stunned. He had to memorize the whole path, but Yeon had seen it instantly. Yeon arrived at a village that looked ordinary, but the locals were shocked he was the one Adora had chosen. She rushed over to apologize for disappearing, but Yeon said it was fine. The villagers were stunned to see her smile like that. Then the martial king Nayu showed up, curious about the boy his kids kept mentioning. Yeon noticed a dark aura around him, which impressed Nayu. Things got awkward when Nayu bluntly asked when Yeon was marrying Adora, leaving everyone embarrassed. Adora yelled, and Nayu joked it was tradition to secure a good man quickly. Fanti held her back from attacking their dad. Nayu invited Yeon to tea. In a simple but elegant room, Nayu arrived in fine clothes. Yeon sat with him, surrounded by Adora, Fanti, and others. The king began listing Yeon's accomplishments, breaking tutorial records, teaming up with Bloodsword and Foxtail, even defeating a Rung. Yeon was shocked, only a few people knew that. He stood in disbelief, prompting the guards to draw swords. The king ordered him to sit. Yeon obeyed, realizing the king was incredibly powerful. Nayu then calmly said he knew why Yeon was there, while the village elders observed silently. Yeon asked the king if he knew how to hatch the egg, but Nayu said that wasn't his field and told him to trust the elders. One elder mentioned a similar case in the past, a giant egg that hatched into a void dragon after being given something special. Adora noted that the 4 legendary beasts weren't born in the tower, but the elders said this happened before the tower even existed. Since the egg had grown unusually large, they'd need a rare herb called a lunar seed to help. The lunar seed was sacred to their tribe, taking 15 years for a single root to grow. Yeon had little to offer in return, and Nayu refused any credits. Instead, he asked Yeon to repay them with physical labor, specifically, by helping their tribe in the upcoming war. Yeon had been considering joining the war anyway, though not as a One-Horn tribe mercenary. Still, it was a good chance, and he suspected the tribe was supporting the Azure Sword clan, since their spear god was from this tribe. Nayu confirmed it, and Yeon agreed to help. The king asked if anyone objected. A man named Jang raised his hand and called Nayu father, but quickly corrected himself to my king, remembering it was an official meeting. Jang objected to Yeon joining the tribe, saying he was a nobody whose skills were unproven and hadn't even cleared the 11th floor. Adora pushed back, asking how he could doubt Yeon when both she and Prince Fanti recommended him. Jang dismissed Yeon as just a human. The king stepped in and told Jang it was time to test Cain if he had doubts. Fanti and Adora apologized to Yeon for dragging him into their family issues. Adora explained that their tribe has 51 families, with the strongest being king. She, Fanti, and Jang were born into different families, Chongram and Baeksun. Jang, likely the next successor, is stronger than Fanti and reached the 30th floor young, making him the most talented of the tribe. Despite her concern, Yeon told Adora not to worry, handling trouble is what brothers do. The fight began in front of a crowd. The king reminded them this was only a test, and killing would be punished harshly. Jang started with his family's sword technique, but Yeon instantly got behind him, slammed his head into the ground, and stunned the crowd. The king laughed. Yeon didn't care about Jang's reasons, he just threatened him. Jang rose with a powerful aura and attack, but Yeon dodged and knocked him out with a punch to the gut. The crowd cheered, and the king officially welcomed Yeon, Cain the Hoarder, into the One-Horn tribe. That night, Yeon asked Nayu how he knew about Arung. The king said his medium received a divine message about a visitor who would cause chaos in the tower and form strong ties with them. He told Yeon not to worry, he wasn't weak enough to go around sharing that kind of info. Yeon asked about the third person Nayu had mentioned. Nayu said it was All for One, a ranker who watches everything in the tower from the top floor. No one escapes his sight because he has a skill called clairvoyance, which lets him peek into the very laws of cause and effect in the physical world. Then Yeon asked when they would meet the Azure Sword clan, and the king said it would be in 5 days. Yeon was surprised. But the king explained that their tribe would be the one to start the war, and no one could make a better entrance than him. Meanwhile, the high-ranking members of the Azure Sword clan were gathered. The Fist God had recently lost to the Red Dragon clan, and they had even used the Mystic Dragon Elixir to heal him. They were talking about Leonti, who sat there silently, frustrated. Suddenly, a voice interrupted, saying that like it or not, Leonti was now part of the group and there'd be no more debate. What mattered now was how to win the war, especially since their forces were weaker than the Red Dragon clans. But they had a blade the other side didn't, and he believed killing the arrogant Summer Queen wasn't impossible. First, though, someone had to eliminate the 4 legendary beasts in case they joined the enemy's side. The voice ordered the Sword God to release 6 and 7 and take care of the beasts using the elixirs. He was also told to coordinate with the One-Horn tribe, who were about to make their move. After the meeting, the Sword God decided they'd start by taking out the southern beast, the Phoenix. In a dark room, the king asked his medium if Yeon was the one he'd mentioned. The medium confirmed it. Yeon had crossed dangerous zones alone and had Adora's support. Nayu believed Yeon might have received death's blessings and wanted to make him his disciple. After Yeon's fight with Jang, the tribe held a small festival. Yeon, feeling out of place, was confronted by a rude guest, but Adora stepped in and took Yeon under her wing. She mentioned leaving his egg with the elders for study and used her insight on the chain around Yeon's arm. She said it was an ancient, incomplete item, one part of a set with a fetter and pillory. Yeon asked if he could learn their tribe's martial arts. Adora was surprised since it was a guarded tradition, but promised to ask her father. That same night, she did. She told the king Yeon was a candidate for the Een sword. Nayu agreed he had potential, so the king accepted, with conditions. He also reminded Adora of her role as the future psychic medium. If she chose Yeon, he had to push even harder, but she believed in him. Yeon reflected on the rare divine iron in his item and the Black King's power, wondering why there were no rumors about him. On his way, he ran into the man who had argued with him. After another brief clash, the man greeted him the next day with a black eye and missing tooth. Yeon learned he had access to the Bronze Tier skill archive, with no help allowed. In 4 days, the king would test him, and if he passed, Nayu would teach him martial arts during the war. His new quest was to develop his own martial art by studying the iron and bronze sections of the library. Rewards included 8 Extremes Fist and the Een sword. Yeon accepted. Adora took him to the archive, which held ancient texts on magic and alchemy. He used his dragon eyes to find worn-out books and began studying acupoints and internal skills, though he struggled with the complex terms. Adora was surprised he chose the Tendon Transformation Scripture, a foundational book, but Yeon kept reading, grasping the core ideas. Yeon focused on expanding his magical circuit, allowing mana to flow naturally as he strengthened it. He understood that the Dantian, was central, with humors and pulse as the mana channel and 1GI as the mana stream. Inner cultivation drew mana from 1GI, with acupuncture points controlling the flow. Yeon created cores in these points across his channels to control mana at will. This new approach, rare even for draconic species, granted him skills like Cultivator, Pioneer, and Mana Control. The gods and demons of the 98th floor, watching from floors below, took interest in Yeon. When a player impressed them, they were blessed and given the title of Apostle. The rarity of these messages hinted that Yeon's work on the cores was significant. He could now efficiently store, replenish, and use various types of magic, even combining the Aegis with his bracelet. On the third day, Adora noticed Yeon's expression, the look of 1,000 victories. Yeon used Enlightenment, sending books flying. A guard entered, surprised to see Yeon's mana veins and 12 meridians open, reaching the level of Yong Kwan Yi Han. Yeon asked Adora for food, much to her disappointment, but now he could hold a smooth conversation with her while improving his skills. He had opened 36 out of the 360 acupuncture points in the human body and was circulating mana through his magic circuits. When Adora asked, he said he was 95% done, only lacking color in his martial arts. Each skill had its own characteristics and objectives, and he was considering looking for more in the bronze skill archive with just 1 day left. Meanwhile, Nayu, in a good mood due to testing his son-in-law, was reading scrolls with an elder. They discussed Yeon's progress, with the king impressed by Yeon's abilities. Although the elders were puzzled about the egg's nature, they suspected it was a legendary beast. Nayu met with Yeon, who had lost weight but grown physically. Yeon showed his abilities by summoning a mass of fire and creating wings called Heavenly Wing Mana Control. The king was impressed but commented it was similar to his own technique. Yeon passed the test, becoming the third person to do so. Nayu gave him the 8 Extreme Fists book and offered to teach him martial arts, making Yeon his assistant. Yeon also inquired about the Een sword and the other two who passed the test. The first to pass the test was the Sword God, leader of the Azure Sword Clan. The second was a secret, someone Yeon didn't know. Yeon asked Nayu to show his true power, and Nayu revealed Break Heaven, a technique from the 8 Extreme Fists. Nayu grew in size and attacked, Yeon barely dodged. The strike shattered the sun and split the sky, but it was just an illusion. Nayu, feeling stiff, told Yeon they were leaving that night and asked Adora to give him food so others wouldn't underestimate him. Yeon admired Nayu's strength and hoped to reach that level one day. Later, Nayu spoke with the medium, admitting the demonstration nearly killed him. The medium warned that the elders would question the king's actions. Nayu, satisfied with Yeon's progress, planned to push him harder, as Yeon had achieved in 4 days what took the Sword God 30. That night, Nayu gave a motivational speech to his people, encouraging them to survive. The war between the Red Dragon Clan and the Azure Sword Clan was about to begin, and Yeon was ready to avenge his brother. This concludes the end of Season 1 of this manhwa. If you're curious about what happens next, subscribe and stay tuned for the next part. Drop a comment if you're into this story or want to see more.